We'll commence with another hybrid presentation from Günther Müller-Czygan from the Hof University. Günther, without further delay, over to you.
Thank you very much. So welcome all the people in the audience, and thank you very much that I have the possibility to share my results, or our results, from our latest study about the digital solution development in the German-speaking area. So my name is Günther Müller-Czygan. I'm professor for water infrastructure and digitization at the Hof University of Applied Science. Hof is located in Bavaria, in the North Bavaria, the south of Germany. It's one of the smaller universities in Germany with around 4,000 students. I want to tell you some things about our study that we have done in the last year and in the springtime this year. We want to find out what's about the state of the art of digitization and digital solutions in Germany. And I hope you were still receptive to my lecture after the coffee break. I know in the afternoon it's not so easy to listen to such presentation. We saw some interesting smart water applications before the break. And some of these, or those of these similar applications, we also found in the German-speaking area, like Germany, Austria, and the Switzerland. And in my presentation, I don't want to tell you something about technologies. I want to make a kind of meta view to the market in Germany and Austria and the Switzerland. And we wanted to know what's the state of digitalization in the German-speaking industry and why many of those good ideas, as we saw before, are not so much implemented at the municipal side. This was one of our questions we tried to answer. So I want to show you this. Okay, here you see our structure of our research that we have done. It was funded by the Federal Ministry of Education and Research in Germany. The project is called, or was called, WaterExe4. It was divided in 4 parts that we have done. First, we have done a special literary and market research, so the basic that you have in every of these kind of studies. After that, we have done an online survey. You see here. First of all, I want to say that as a result of our literature research, we have identified more than 700 projects, products, complete solutions, services, and studies that were deeply connected with digital ideas. So we call them digital elements. And in addition, we have done an online survey, 120 participants from the water sector. We have asked about several things about digital projects. And the head of it was to find out what are the obstacles in digital projects and what are the success factors they can identify or that they have experienced in their digital projects. And also we have interviewed 30 experts from the water sector because they have more deeply insight in the projects. And you know, from online survey, you have only a limited possibility to ask special things. And for this, we also asked 30 people or 30 experts from the water market. And at the end, we in the last phase of the project, we add some special workshops because we identify some need, in our opinion, regarding cost-benefit analysis and also regarding the question which competence staff need when they go into a digital project. So we do 3 workshops with special people from municipalities to find out what are their view regarding cost-benefit and competencies. And what I want to do is now in the next minutes, I want to show you some highlights from our project. And you can imagine when you identify more than 700 ideas, solutions, and all that things, you have lots of data and information, and it's not so easy to put it into 20 minutes. So I hope I find the highlights for you, that you see what in Germany and the German-speaking area is now happening regarding the digitalization in the water sector. So the key findings is regarding or in comparison to the last 5 years when we call it Water for Zero starts in Germany or in the Germany-speaking market. It was one of different ideas or topics that we have discussed 5 years ago, and digitization was not in the core of all daily work. But 5 years later, 2020 and 21, we can say digitization is a core topic in the German-speaking water industry. And we saw it today in the further presentations. It's not only in the German-speaking area, it's worldwide. The last 5 years, there was a huge development in this direction, but I think this is nothing new for you. So what we found out is that many products and solutions have been developed for lots of areas and various applications regarding digital solutions. Also, the research area was very active in the last 5 years, especially regarding networked and complex solution ideas. And also there is a great variety of offers and services on the industrial side, and this is what we found out, and this was also the question we had before we start this research. Many of these ideas we do not find in the municipal side, in all the objects, in all the treatment places. This is what we found out. So when you look deeper into that, first of all, for your information, the distribution of all the digital solution variants we found out, you see it here on the sheet. So you see nearly 30% we found in the wastewater treatment area, 30% we found in the potable water area, and the others were distributed between rainwater, water bodies, reused water, and also in sludge. But sludge is very slow. It's only 2% we found. And if you were interested in the other distribution sectors, we also divided it into, is it only a product? Is it only product level? That means like a cyber physical system or a sensor or something like that. And it goes up to the level of intermunicipal solutions. And you see intermunicipal solutions, there are a lot. Especially we found it in the water body monitoring. In this area, you can imagine a river does not start or ends inside of one municipality. It connects lots of municipalities. It goes over regions. And it's not a surprise that we found in this area lots of monitoring systems that were intermunicipal. But what I mentioned before, this, how can I say, problem, maybe a problem, or this result we found out, what's about the gap maybe between the offering side and what is still installed in the municipal side, because municipalities are the end users of most of these solutions. We also look to the municipal market, not so strongly to the industrial market. Maybe this I have to remark. And you see this on the chart. If you look to the distribution, 34% of all these digital elements, around 700 we identify, we found on the industrial side. This could be a product, like a sensor, it could be a software, it could be a complex system, all that. 34% we found on the industrial side, and 25% on the research side. That means studies, concepts, first prototypes, and so on. And only 11% we found as a real installed solution in the municipality. And when we look to the ready for the market status of all these things, we see that more than 60% of all these 700 things we identify were still ready for the market. And on the other hand, we found only 11% on the municipality. So the question was, is there a gap between the offer side and the demand? It seems so in the first view. But on the other hand, we know that the municipalities does not share all their projects and their ideas with the publicity. So in our research, we think we do not have found all these installations on the municipality side because there are still no information in the internet or in journals or something like that. But on the other hand, I know from my practical side, I worked more than 25 years on the industrial side before I came last year to University of Hof. I still saw that our ideas, and I worked lots of years with digital solutions, I saw it was very difficult to bring it into the market in the German-speaking area because there are a lot of obstacles regarding digital solutions. And this is what we wanted to know in our research. What are the reasons for this? I think we call it gap. We want to know what was the reason or is the reason why we still have this big difference between offering side and demanding side. And so we started our online survey. We asked 120 people of the market sector, of the water sector, what could be the reason for that? Or looking from the other view, what are the success factors if a digital project could be realized in a good way, or that they really realized it? So here's some of these obstacles that the people tell us. First of all, they have lack of staff. I think this is nothing new. Lots of areas, also the industrial size, has not enough people for their work, especially regarding digital development. Also, they have often unexpectedly high overall effort that was not expected when they start a digital project. This is also one reason why they do not start a next project in some cases. They have a lot of lack of internal skills because they were confronted with new solutions, with new ideas, and the people were not prepared in the right way for that. Also, they have not enough money. Fear of change, that is a general problem in changing project because, it's also nothing new. Digitization results in or has a consequence of lots of change in organizational work. And for this, they have a lot of fear. And this is also the reason why they do not start very quickly with the project. Also, the employees were not optimal involved in the project. And especially in Germany, we were very sensitive with data security. It's also a big problem starting a project. And at the end, the municipalities want more standardized interfaces. And this is, at the moment, there is still a lack of it. So this is we have lots of other things, but these are the mainly aspects the people set inside of the online survey. And here you see regarding the success factors, I have highlighted the main 4 success factors the people told us. The main is, for example, cross-department communication must be in a good way. So when they install a new digital project, it's not only separated for their small department because lots of data you get from another department, and then you need a good working cross-department communication. Very important point. The other thing is, what's about the competence of the project manager? He is the man, he's in the middle, he's in the center of the project, and he needs lots of competence, and often it's not existing in enough deep or depth. Also, regarding all the other peoples that were working with the project, the staff, they need also the right competence. And at the end, you need the right specialists. So interesting is all these main aspects regarding obstacles or regarding success factors are non-technical. They're regarding the human factors, the human being. This is very interesting for us. We do not expect this in this clearness. We expected more technical things, but the technical things come in the list in a lower area, not in this top 5 or top 10. So the next is the experts. What does the experts say in this area? What do they think about success factors or obstacles regarding a digital project? Interview, you think, is very open-minded. They can say all the things that they have in mind in this moment when they were interviewed, and it is not so deeply structured like an online survey. So you see here more than 30 items or success factors we identify that we have put together, that we have clustered. And you see it's very bright. And the experts, sure, they see also technical aspects as a very important success factor, like IoT, like artificial intelligence or something like that, also sensors, but also they look to the human side. You see, they say also we need the readiness on the client side. That means municipals must be prepared very early for such a new project. And in reality, it doesn't work in this way. Also, communication, as I mentioned before by the people from the online survey, also communication is very important. They need a common database for all sectors that is regarding the cross communications. Not only the communication by the people, also data communication needs the same base, and so on. You see, it's a lot of factors they have mentioned at this point. And very important for us is that they say, please, all these 30 factors, you do not need it in each project. You have to select those that were really connected with your local project regarding the context. This is when you regard all these success factors, you have to check it if which of these factors really work or really were connected with your project. Okay, the next thing is we have compared the opinions or the statements of the people and the experts, and you see the 5 most named aspects that we have summarized, or we have clustered it for success. And you see the first 2 things were the recognizable added value. This is very important. That means when a municipality gets a new solution, it must have a very good added value. At the end, it has answered the question, why do I need that solution? And sometimes it is not really clear answered. So both sides see those aspects as a very important factor. The second is human factors, the acceptance of the people who have worked with the solution in the next years. And then we have some differences between the online people and the experts, you see it. But at the end, both sides think it seems that overall strategy is also a very important factor. What does the expert exist from benefits? Here also the first points, the 4 points. Process efficiency is very important. Transparency of information is a very important point. Also the data access from anywhere. We think that is very normal when we come from technical side. As I worked on the side of the industrial offerer, I think it's normal, but on the other side, they do not see it in every point, and you have to communicate it, and you have to discuss it, that they get the right position for all these things. And also, it must be future-proofing, that the municipality can go in a good feeling into the future with the right technology. So at the end, only one slide for the special workshop. As I mentioned before, we discussed the need of cost benefit and competencies. This is also because the municipality told us that they do not have a tool where they can share different offerers or different solutions. When the different companies said my solution is the best, they have no tool how they can calculate the different costs, not only the investment, also the operating cost, the people cost, the education cost, and so on. And we want to develop in the future at Hof such a tool. And for this, we need some answers from those people who want to work with it. And this was one reason why we implement this workshop. And here's some statements from them. For example, one colleague told us, in a company, existing competencies must be distributed and delegated, except that not everyone can always fit in everywhere. This depends on the ability to work in a team. A boss task is where do I see the strengths of an employee and where do I use them. Point system for an evaluation makes sense. This is one thing that means they need more competence education for that, especially dividing between boss and normal staff. And one sentence is very interesting in that background. The terms competence and digitalization can mean everything and nothing. They need to be defined precisely. Very important point. This is what we also get as a reaction 5 years ago when we start with the word digitization. The people on the operation side said, what does it mean? It means nothing at all. So we have to be precisely when we go to the customer side. This is, in my opinion, a very important point that this was stated by the people. So only this I want to present for a first impression of our researchers, and at the end, summary. As I mentioned before, around 700 different digital elements we were identified in this research. We have to have in mind that we had only 8 months to work on it because it was regulated in this funding project. But we're still going on in making an update of these research the next 2 or 3 years. And then we see every year what is changing. Does we have the same status at the moment? Which status we have in 1 year, and maybe what's happening in the next 2 years? And do we see a huge development or maybe only small steps? Let's see. As I mentioned, 120 participants we interviewed in an online survey and 30 interviews with experts we have done. And the main success factors, they were aimed to recognizable added value, as I said, acceptance by the people, user-friendly, user-oriented solutions the market wanted. Pilot projects are very important. That means they need a good idea in the reality as a best practice. Then this is a very important thing that municipalities decide to go the same way or not. And an overall strategy is also very important. And at the end, transparency and the key persons must be adequate for this project. And at the end, as I mentioned also before, all criteria and factors must be assessed and applied against the background of each individual context. So this was my presentation, and thank you very much for your attention. And here you see our team in the wintertime when we start the project last year. Thank you very much.
Gunther, thank you very much for an interesting presentation. To me, there's an interesting parallel that you make about the human interface and technological change and piloting, especially just from history. And I wonder what the parallel would be with a different sort of technological change that we have. Now, the first one that came to mind was sort of AMP4 rollout of activated sludge into the UK market, where at least in some utilities, we went from trickling filters to activated sludge plants with a number of really new skills. We have absolutely new skills to learn in order to essentially do the same task. And I was wondering if you'd done any other sort of thoughts or comparisons along that line.
Sorry, I don't understand your question. Can you repeat it?
Forgive me. For digitization, what we're doing is we're comparing the introduction of a digital system to improve a functionality,
Yes.
but essentially have the same output, just more efficiently, done better. And I was wondering if you'd seen any parallels with any other industrial changes in other places.
Yes, it's the same. So you have the same at Industrial 4.0 in Germany. They have also the problems when they make the introduction of this technology with the people. You have it also with I remember in Germany 20 years ago when they started with a new system in the municipalities, not digital, was another thing. You have the same problems by introducing.
The common denominator seems to come to people, which
yes,
actually is...
depending on the people, yes. On their mindset and of their behavings, yes.
Thank you very much. On that note, questions from the floor? Amanda.
Hi, Amanda Lake from Jacobs. Thanks very much. That was really interesting. Hi. And quite a different topic area. I just wondered what you mentioned your previous experience had been in the industrial sector, and where we see a lot perhaps more progress and more rapid change. And I just wondered what do you think some of the opportunities are to either change the people or change the rate at which we're moving, because there's quite a lot we have to try and address as a society just now. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, yes, this is one of my second topics of research, because I'm not only an engineer, I'm also a economic psychologist, and I have do some research as how we can overcome these boundaries. And one point is you must find points in the mindset of the people and in the knowledge of the people that you can connect with your solution. That means when the people on the other side have no idea of what you want to offer, or what the intention of your offer is, or what the target of your offer is, you have nearly no choice to connect to the people that they say yes. So find a point, maybe that is similar to that, what you want to offer, what they still do. Then it's not so difficult to find a connection point that they accept your new thing. We have developed a special strategy in my former company, and now I want to make some researches about that. We call it Anyway project. That means if you have a new solution, try to connect it to a so-called Anyway project. That means, for example, we saw in one presentation before this intelligent pump control system. When a company still will investing in new pumping station, but in an old-fashioned way, this is one possibility to say, okay, you can add your pump with an intelligent system, but not a complete new thing. Only this small, intelligent digital solution you have to add to your still old pump in my mind. Then you find a way. But when you try to implement a new solution like a new software, there is still nothing before you can connect. This is the big problem. So my intention is to find connecting points.
Any more questions?
I hope it was it was understandable. I hope.
Absolutely, yes. Sorry, I've taken the microphone, but good description. Thank you very much. Any more questions from the floor? In which case, then, Gunther, thank you very much for a really interesting and informative presentation.
Thank you very much.